work with the show title.
Oh, yeah, right? I mean, because they first, they were created and they started on their weekly pay-per-views. They were starting to go down. They were hemorrhaging money, never made a profit. Then Panda Energy came in. The story is Scott Hall and Sean Waltman.
Scon Wolt.
Scon Wolt. They convinced Dixie Carter to get her parents to invest in it, and then it became big and huge, and it was the number 2. Then it started kind of going down again, and then Hogan and Bischoff joined, and it I wouldn't say that the number actually, yeah, the numbers increased, the publicity increased, the wrestlers who were there, the names increased. Then it tanked, like went, but it never died.
As it does. It's the circle of life when you move from a panda to an owl. Evolution is hard.
Exactly. And then Anthem came in, swooped up, brought them back up again, moved them to Canada, And they've been having some of the best matches they've had since the early 2000s, ever. And probably one of the best rosters they've had since the mid-2000s. And now we see the company that owns Impact owning the rights to air another large company's show as New Japan. Women of Wrestling is brand new. Who knows? Maybe it'll die out. We don't know. But it's something. And women wrestling is really popular right now. And as we mentioned, the library of Ring of Honor from 2009 to 2011, it's only 3 years, but that was pretty hot years, baby. That was right after the departures of Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, I believe. It was right around that time. So this was when the people like probably Tyler Black was still there. Obviously, Roderick Strong was there. You got the Colt Cabanas. You got Kevin Steen and El Generico, the Briscoes, Nigel McGuinness. Just people that are synonymous with amazing wrestling.
It's really intriguing to just ponder and wonder where they could go with this, if it goes anywhere.
Well, Pasty, it's funny you say that because with any news this big and involving so many different partings, as we just mentioned, there's always going to be rumors thrown around. And
especially when Pasty's delivering the news.
For sure. Take this with a grain of salt, folks. But if this is true, it would be one of the most surprising stories in recent wrestling history. And what we just talked about, which is part of, was one of the most surprising. But according to an Impact insider, the Canadian promotion is in talks of buying Ring of Honor. Now follow along, okay? A link already actually exists between New Japan and Impact. Yes, I said New Japan, not Ring of Honor. Follow me, please. Impact's Executive Vice President, Don Callis, who worked as the Jackal in WWF, and he worked as the Network in ECW. He's also working for New Japan Pro Wrestling, being a commentator for the big New Japan shows, for the English speaking, of course. There have been talks between the two of working together dating back as early as 2018 after Callis put together the Kenny Omega-Chris Jericho match for Wrestle Kingdom. Yes, folks, if you heard anything from Chris Jericho or anything, Don Callis is the one that actually put that together. He knew Omega Jericho because they used to wrestle in Manitoba together in Canada.
Manitoba.
Exactly. But the problem here is New Japan already has a working relationship with another U.S. wrestling promotion, that being Ring of Honor. They've been exchanging talent and co-promoting shows such as the joint Madison Square Garden show over WrestleMania weekend this last year that caused such a hubbub under Vince McMahon's ass. So how would Impact be able to get around that, you may ask? Well, if you've been listening to what the fuck we've been talking about, you probably already know, but I'm going to spell it out to you. According to a rumored insider on Reddit, they're just going to buy Ring of Honor. A Reddit user by the name of King of Georgia 95, who has a
I'm going to sound the Meltzer alert here.
I think you should. Because he has a decent but flawed track record of behind-the-scenes Impact scoops. And he's just recently resurfaced on Reddit for the first time in almost a year with these added details about the Axis deal, also claiming the relationship with Pursuit Channel, which is Impact's current cable home, will be maintained, with Impact making a new wrestling show for Pursuit to present new wrestlers that will eventually be called up to the main roster on Access, similar to what NXT used to be to WWE. It's a lot to take in there.
It is.
And of course, these two stories are separated because one is facts that have been confirmed. The first part of this is facts that has been confirmed about Anthem buying Access TV and them having ownership over the television shows of New Japan and WoW and all of that. Now, Impact being interested in buying Ring of Honor, even them just being interested, this is all speculation and rumor off of Reddit.
Man, I hope they run, if they buy it, I hope they run Mondays and Fridays. Just put the pressure all across WWE.
Oh, it would be crazy, wouldn't it? What a world we live in right now. You never thought growing up, Pasty, during the Monday Night Wars, that it would ever get a bigger battlefield than it was. And especially after the Monday Night Wars collapsed, we never seen this. Nobody's seen this coming.
No, nope.
The world we live in now with wrestling.
There's too much wrestling. There's almost as much wrestling as there is rappers in Minnesota, I tell you.
There is too much wrestling, which is sad. But there's too much wrestling. I guess it's good. Nobody says there's too much comedy. I guess you get to pick and choose which one.
When there's so many, somebody's going to fail. Who's going to fail first?
Who says somebody's going to fail? What if just some people do better than others?
But if there's too much, it's bound to
But
fall.
is there, like I said, is there too much, though? Or do we just get to pick and choose now?
Yeah, but if there's so much to pick and choose from, then the herd is thinner for everyone. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're going to have to, I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see.
Coming as a rapper from Minnesota, I just see it differently, okay? There's so many people, and then by the end, the whole crowd is just other people who are performing.
To be fair, Pasty, you could preface that to anything.
Yeah.
Being a rapper from Minnesota, I see insert anything here differently.
That's going to be my new catchphrase. It's my new gimmick.
Right? Oh, good stuff. Wow.
Well, speaking of NXT, WWE and Full Sail University have expanded their partnership as NXT will start emanating weekly from Full Sail on Wednesday nights live on the USA Network starting September 18th. Full Sail University has been invaluable to the success of NXT, said Triple H, WWE Executive Vice President of Talent, Live Events, and Creative. The passion
not even the
from
fucking
their
dogs
students
can stand Triple H.
Our entire NXT roster.
Nobody likes
and
Triple
staff.
H. I heard you say Triple H. They're just going
They
nuts.
just know staying at Full Sail is a bad idea, too.
Is it though, or is it great?
If you're going to do weekly TV, I think you need to not stay at Full Sail.
It's a catch-22. It costs a lot of money to travel. Is it going to make enough money to be worth... Hey! We're live. Do you understand that, Sweet Pea? We're live.
She said you wanted me to be a guest.
Oh my gosh, she whined and ran away when I said we're live. I think she understood me.
Stage fright.
Creating a bond here. It is a catch-22. You look at, like, obviously NXT is bigger than Indies and is not Indie because it has
Honestly,
WWE backing
they put
it.
on a better show than Raw and SmackDown. They should be moving around.
Selfishly, yeah, but if you look at... If you have
Honestly, they could make main roster pay-per-views better, too, if they didn't continue with takeovers. But they're going to continue with takeovers from the sounds of it. And more of them.
Yeah. I don't know.
Could you imagine what an NXT championship match would do for a not Big Four pay-per-view? You know what I mean?
I think it would be... Well, again, that's just yet to be seen. I don't know that NXT draws anybody more to the average shows. It draws you and I to it.
I think any casual who watches Raw and SmackDown and wants to argue with AEW fans on the internet, I think they automatically are obligated to start watching NXT if they hadn't prior.
I would agree with you in theory, yes, 100%. But I realistically, in my opinion, think the same people that cheer Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns and boo AJ Styles and Braun Strowman don't give a shit about Adam Cole, who's like my number one. You know, I'm not dogging him, but I don't think they give a shit about him.
Yeah.
Now, WWE could get them to give a shit about him, and I hope they would. And I think after a year or even maybe 6 months of being on USA, actual TV that people can see, that they don't have to go out of their way to get, then possibly they could. But I don't think at this point people give a shit, whether that's right or wrong. It's wrong to me.
We'll see how it goes. They're pretty screwed their first couple of weeks on TV anyway. We talked about that last week.
Oh, yeah. It's just going to be a fucking hodgepodge mess. Speaking of hodgepodge, Wrestling Inc. is reporting that IHOP TJP, otherwise known as TJ Perkins, has been offered a deal to fight for Bellator MMA. I didn't even know he was into MMA, but that's cool. Yes. Bellator wanted Perkins to fight in November, but that timeline seemed to be a little too short for the former WWE Cruiserweight Champion, and conversations are reportedly ongoing. Also, the weight that Bellator wanted him to fight at was too high as well, so he'd have to put on a bit more mass. So right now, a deal is far from being done, but they are officially in talks.
I bet he does better than CM Punk.
Well, I mean, you can't do worse, can you?
You could, and I would definitely put it up to a WWE wrestler to outdo CM Punk.
Yeah. I want to throw something quick in here that I kind of
before you do.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to bounce back to a thought I had was with them staying at Full Sail with NXT, could be Triple H trying to one up the quality of life of superstars as compared to AEW's touring schedule.
True. Mm-hmm. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
I know whenever you hear from NXT people who have come up to the main roster, that's one of the few gripes they're okay with admitting.
Oh, shit. CM Punk in the last month has said he hates traveling and would be willing to talk to WWE. CM Punk to NXT. Confirmed.
NXT, CM Punk.
Dude, that would be nuts. And then Kevin Owens and CM Punk on NXT. Oh, I think I just came.
I think you did, to be honest.
I actually don't think I did. I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, just wanted to point this out here. I didn't really think it was huge news, and I forgot that TJP was on here and stuff. And just wanted to mention that the wrestler, or shall we say the character, Suicide, is actually making a return in professional wrestling. And obviously it's not going to be TJP playing him. And for those of you who don't know, Suicide is a masked wrestler who's known for his high-flying spots and crazy, almost, quote, suicidal high moves and shit. He was originally played by Christopher Daniels, but he's been played by 1,000 people over the years, including Kazarian, TJP, and many others. Right now it's been... I don't remember who it is that's been playing him. An indie guy, but a kind of lower one. But I think it's cool. I like the new mask. If you haven't seen it, look it up. It's almost. It would fit right alongside the Fiend. I think if those two are walking down together, you'd think they went together. I love the new mask. It's badass.
Nice.
That was all.
Nice. Looking forward to that. Hey, speaking of WWE wrestlers breaking into Hollywood, Fat Mac.
Oh my gosh, it's not like we just talked about that a half hour ago.
According to Hollywood sources, Ronda Rousey is being considered to play She-Hulk in the upcoming Marvel spin-off movie.
Badass.
Yeah. Right now it remains unclear to us if she's actually been contacted, but she is named on an international short list of candidates.
An international one too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, I didn't know they were looking around the world. Basically, Pasty and I were just, saying it'd be cool if she was on there. But
they're doing that reboot of Mortal Kombat too, and she's
Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah, well, also, but she's probably going to be playing Sonya Blade. So
yeah, I'd be okay with that. I know everybody hated that she did the voice of Sonya, and I was okay with that. Put her in 2
Hollywood movies, so that's another one for the list.
And she's another unique looking.
Ronda Rousey, you just made the list.
Plus, she's kind of just the Roddy Piper copy, so she's the female Roddy Piper, so it makes sense.
Yeah, except for Piper's daughter. That's a
a
whole wrench in that whole thing, isn't it?
I know, but I would love for her if she got the role of She-Hulk.
I want her to sue because, unlike Ric Flair, she might win.
Right. Well, allegedly, isn't she the one that gave Ronda the original kilt?
Probably, yeah.
It was somebody